I'm going to talk about the social aspects of Takaful. If we are in the business of Takaful and we don't think about the social aspects, then I think that we are not really doing justice to the true essence of this business. It is very important to think about the social aspects because it is all about the people coming together to get that protection. It is all about people who are actually part of the community to provide that kind of service, bringing their capital, exposing themselves to the risk of the business itself, and basically, generally, as part of the cooperation, serving the community, contributing to the economy of the country. So the social aspects are very much part of the ethical part of the business itself. In order to explain more about the social aspects of Takaful, I would like to start from the differences between the proprietary companies and the mutual companies. In a proprietary company, we have the shareholders who bring their capital into the business and they seek business, bring the customers to the company. These customers are the policyholders, and these policyholders pay the premiums. The premiums are paid to the company in exchange for a promise to pay the claims. And whatever the money comes into the insurance fund actually belongs to the shareholders, to the company. The policyholders do not have any right over that money anymore, except for that promise that the claims will be paid. And of course, all of that is then governed under very strict regulations that will happen. Any profits that emerge from the policyholders' funds are actually within the ownership of the shareholders themselves. But there is a disconnect here. There are the two parties, and one party, the policyholders, want to maximize the benefits that they get, and the other party, the shareholders, want to maximize the profits that they expect from their capital investment. Normal expectations of good business practices apply, but this can actually vary from company to company. We have seen that this can be, at times, very much a one-sided affair at the best of times. Even though we have the ethics of doing good business within the strict guidelines and regulations. And there's enough reminder of that that we have seen through the maximization of the corporate profits, through innovative instruments such as like the credit default swaps, creating false money without enough underlying assets, and of course generating the kind of bonuses that don't quite make sense except to those who actually receive it. And we have seen that in the financial problems that we have seen in the past. Coming to the mutual companies do not have shareholders, they only have policyholders. The policyholders are actually the owners of the money in that company. They own the income, they own the expenses, and they own the profits. But mutual companies are basically the originators of the cooperative type of insurance, and this goes back about like 400 to 500 years ago. And they have survived, many of them been very successful. But there is one fundamental problem with that. They have a dilemma of how to actually expand their business activities without the access to the capital itself, how to write more different types of risks, because that requires different type of capital. Uh, they need more capital perhaps to expand into different markets. So these kinds of factors have actually been impacting their growth, especially when they are in competition with the proprietary companies. And therefore it becomes a question of survival without the capital access. When we come to Takaful, we find that it is actually right in between the proprietary company and a mutual company. A Takaful company has, of course, the policyholders who are called the participants, participating in a cooperative manner. And we have the shareholders who bring their capital to basically enable the whole thing to start, grow, and become durable and stronger. So it has both the capital coming through, and the shareholders are there, the policyholders are there, and the community of people who are actually making it possible, who are the employees of the company, they are there. So it is in the true essence that the cooperative system enables the Takaful business to be established and to grow. So Takaful is about the spirit of cooperation, of justice and fair play, of working for the community that it serves, the society of which it is part of, and the economy to which it must contribute, for the greater good of all. The main focus of Takaful is not actually to make money, it is to actually serve the community, and profit is a byproduct of that. Because if we are actually trying to serve the greater good of everybody, then profit is justified for everybody. And that's what Takaful is all about. So the profit motives of a proprietary company are similar to the profit motives of a capitalist system. And the profit is the driving force behind everything. In a socialist setup, one would be sort of more focused about the society itself and not too much driven by the profit motives. Takaful, and therefore Islamic finance, falls in between these two systems. And I would say that this system of Islamic finance and Takaful is like capitalism with heart. You actually must think of the society, and in the context of that, you think of the profits, and you think of the business, and you think of all the things that must be put together to create that, because profit and business, of course, are very good, very essential for the strength of the economy and everything. But it is not the end game. It is actually the byproduct of what we are trying to do, which is about the society itself. So profit cannot be the sole motive, and the corporate governance that we see in the businesses that ensures that profit is made correctly is there. But the cooperative responsibility of the corporations, of the businesses within the Takaful system must have that social aspect, because without that, it becomes very one-sided. What we have seen in the recent years, since the 1980s especially, is a very strong and sustained growth of the Takaful industry. The industry has grown tremendously. And this is the commercial aspect of the Takaful business. The social aspects of Takaful actually should go beyond that. We have the extension of the social aspects into the micro Takaful, and that is touching those segments of our society who cannot actually normally afford this kind of protection. Microfinance and micro Takaful is something that the industry needs to do more of. There is not enough that has happened so far. Microinsurance, on the other hand, has grown tremendously around the world, and it has been a win-win situation for both the industry itself and the people who it serves, the masses. Takaful also needs to do the same. And one very important aspect which is missing, I think, and which is something that the Islamic system has, is the funds that are generated for the poor and the needy through zakat. And I think if zakat funds can be institutionalized to be available for microfinance and micro takaful, then that will give a great boost, I think, to the serving of the poor, the needy elements of the society through very sustained way of giving them long-term security, long-term financial security, financial protection. Microfinance through these funds can provide them source of putting together their businesses, and micro takaful can then provide the protection for protecting those assets, protecting the income and the livelihood, protecting the times that they get sick, which is not normally there for these segments of society. So in the end, I think I would like to say that social aspects of takaful are really very, very important aspects for everybody who is in this industry. If you don't have that mindset, then you are really doing just a lip service to this industry.